Hey guys, it's Stacy Locke here, and this is just for the heck of it right now. I've been perusing Facebook, and I go in there and I go to the different trade groups and associations and Facebook groups on business coaching and consulting, and I was in one with the Conquer groups, and somebody posed a question about what percentage of your gross revenues should you use to go ahead and either lease or rent or possibly buy versus via mortgage payment, and what percentage of your gross revenues should that be every month that you should dedicate towards that facility payment for putting together a workshop or a facility to run your business out of. And a lot of people jumped in. Some people jumped in and said, hey, 5%. Some people jumped in and said 1.5%, 2.5%, but everything was basically in that 1 to 5% range. And it got me thinking, because a lot of the theology that I've had over the years, I'm a third generation service business entrepreneur. I own several businesses and have owned several businesses in my life, and all of them pretty much entailed having some sort of a facility. And I know that my personal goal, when I look at my budget, I try to settle in at about that 2% mark. But there's a very important caveat that this discussion reminded me of, and that was, when you look at elementary rules of nature, things that are just like gravity, inertia, things that you can count on. One of those things that you can count on absolutely is for people that have had fish tanks. If you have a goldfish and you put them in a little bowl, the goldfish will grow to be about this big. You put them in a 10-gallon tank, it'll grow to be about this big. You put it in a 50-gallon tank, it'll grow to be about this big. And what we've learned is whatever the size of the environment, that really dictates how large a fish will grow. Or if you have several varieties of small fish, those small fish, the size of the tank will dictate how many fish you can have in a tank before they just get crowded, they turn on each other, and they just start consuming and eating each other. Boy, how many times have we seen that happen in a business? So, environment is huge. Environment's huge. My background in horticulture, agriculture, horticulture, specifically in ornamental plants, we've learned that a plant can only grow as big as its pot. That's why when you do bonsai trees, they can get a tree to look so old and so gnarled, and the branches and everything, it looks like a 150-year-old oak tree in a little dish, because the size of that dish dictates how large the tree will grow, but not necessarily the age of the tree. That's why you can have some of these bonsais that are 150, 200 years old, and they're still the same size, but they show all of the wear and the age. Okay? So same thing with your business. What I recommend is look at your business. Do a 1-year vision, a 3-year vision, a 5-year vision. Kind of envision, where do you think your business is going to be in 5 years? Now, I say 5 years because most leases on facilities that you're going to rent, the landlord's going to want a 5-year lease. So if you don't want to be trying to get out of that lease early, or do early termination, or move, or try to upgrade your space or things like that, envision, where do you want your company to be in 5 years? Where can you conservatively say, hey, at the trajectory that we're growing, this is where we're going to be in 5 years? Not your pie in the sky estimate, but where you really think you're going to be in 5 years. Then go out and rent that facility. Well, okay, see, what's the mathematical equation of that? Well, if in 5 years you think your company is going to be doing $1 million in revenues, I recommend take 2% of that $1 million and pay it in rent today. That means if you're only a $300,000 company, it's going to give you that $20,000 budget that you need to consider to go out and find a facility. So that means you're going to be looking for a facility that's going to be $1,500 to $2,000 per month. If you think your company is going to be $1.5 million in 5 years, then get that facility now. Start paying that money now. That may put you at 4% of your gross revenues. It may put you at 5 or 6% of your gross revenues. And it might put you out of budget, especially if you're doing profit first and you have a basket for your reoccurring and non-reoccurring overhead. So when you look at that, you might have to take some money out of another basket. The basket I recommend is either capital expenditures or specifically profit. Profit is good because I believe in delayed gratification. So if you're building your asset right now, if you're building your company right now, if you're trying to look at the future, don't suck a ton of money out of your company for personal gain when it's young. You hear what I'm saying? Don't suck a lot of money out of your company for personal gain when it's young. I realize you have bills. I realize you have expenses. I realize you have a lifestyle. But maybe you should be making better lifestyle decisions. Shrink that lifestyle a little bit. Take some of that profit you would have lived on coming out of your company, buy a few less toys, and put a little bit more money out of your profit basket into your reoccurring and non-reoccurring overhead basket and augment what you're paying in rent so that you can get a 50-gallon aquarium instead of a 10-gallon aquarium and make sure that you have the room to grow your business and the space for your employees to thrive so that you can accomplish the goals that you have for not only your business, but for the employees that God has placed in your stewardship, as well as your personal lifestyle. Think about where you're going to be in 5 years, because you're going to blink and you will be there. All right? So it's fish aquariums for you guys. Think about how big your pot for your plant or your fish aquarium for your fish needs to be, and start paying for that aquarium today. Even though you're not there, stretch yourself a little bit. Give yourself room to grow. And that's this week's Just for the Heck of It right now. We'll see you guys later.